Do you hate your job? Do you hate your job? Do you work in an office and it's just hopelessly fucking pathetic and you can't stand it anymore? Do you just fuck the dog most of the day anyway? Well, if you do, just watch this video. You might as well. You got nothing to do, right? Because you're just at work really doing nothing. I hated my job. Luckily, I got fired, which was the best thing that ever happened to me. And now I get to just do what I wanted to do, like while I was at work. Only I just do it for myself, and you guys can live vicariously through me. You can watch my video. Uh, take 10 minutes out of your boring, hopeless workday and just watch this, and I'll give you some advice and tell you some stories. It was so pathetic. I worked in an office for a big multinational company. They had offices all over the world. The leaders of the company thought they were very important. Amongst our peers, our company was known as a sweatshop and a shithole. It got so hopelessly fucking pathetic. Does this happen to where you work? The company structure was so ridiculous. It seemed like they purposely invented a way that the shit could rise to the top. They had this policy where if they hated someone, if someone was hated by everyone in a region, they had regions all over the world. If everyone hated a particular guy because he was so just an arrogant, pathetic, useless, uninformed douche, they would have this policy where they would transfer that person away from their region because they hated him. And he'd end up somewhere else. And because he'd end up in some other region around the world, he'd have to get kind of a plum job in charge of something that he had no clue about and didn't understand. And there was a troop of these people that kept getting transferred around the world because wherever they were for the past 6 to 8 months hated them. And they kept getting transferred around. And because they had experience all over the world, they rose to the top. And eventually the management team that ran the company was a collection of fuckwits. And this is where I worked, and everyone hated working there. Not everyone. 85-90% of the people hated working there. 5 to 10% of the people actually tried. Everyone generally showed up because, let's face it, everyone had bills to pay and they didn't want to just not do anything. But everyone started coming up with strategies where they could fuck the dog as much as possible and not get caught. And one of the things that happened, it just drove me freaking nuts, was that, and tell me if this is the same at your company. Maybe while you're watching this video, you're actually doing it. People would sit in front of their computers and just spam emails back and forth and CC and blind CC and reply to all till the fucking cows came home. It was so ridiculous. I remember one example. We were dealing with another company, and all I wanted to know, what's the actual name of the company and their address? I had to send them something, and I didn't know. We used acronyms, and I didn't know what the name of the company or the address was. So I quickly texted one of my friends on my phone. Hey, do you know the actual name of that company and their address? Can you text it to me? I got to send them something. And I don't know why, but maybe it was beneath him to just reply to me. He decided the best strategy would be to send out an email CCing about 7 or 8 people in my company saying, hey, Klaus needs to know the name of the company we're dealing with and their address. Can someone please provide that? In an email. To CC to about 10 people. Well, 9 of them replied, CCing everyone, and some of them expanding the email list. I'm not sure, but maybe Jackie on the 8th floor would know. She keeps track of the records. Blind CC, 5 more people. 1 or 2 extra people replying, why are you asking me for an address? I don't have nothing to do with this project. Please remove me from your email list. Then a reply to all, sorry for including you. I thought you were on the team. I didn't know you got transferred. Reply back to all blind CC, 7 more people. I thought Jackie was on the team. Did she leave the team? When did she leave the team? On and on and on until there's 400 emails, 426. At that time, I kept the thread. It was so pathetic. 426 separate emails flying around. At its grandeur, 64 people CC'd, blind CC'd, included in the conversation. The ultimate being at something like 10:30 at night, one particular person replied to all. Incidentally, on a side note, I'm here late. working on such and such, and I wonder if anyone could have blah, 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 blah at 10:30 at night, replying to all. Because that guy wants to send an email to let everyone know, hey, I know I'm, incidentally, my email doesn't, give a flying fuck, but I want everyone to know that I'm here working late at night because I'm so fucking worried about what you think of me, and I have to keep this pathetic job that I hate, that I spend time at 10:30 at night in the office replying to 64 fucking people on an email that some guy, he wanted to know what someone's address was. So I kid you not, I wanted to go in the next morning and visit all 64 people and fucking cuff them on the head and say, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? Like, holy shit, it took me 25 minutes to clear out the fucking email threads. That particular one, 24 other ones that had 67 replies. A mishmash of about 800 emails every morning. One or two which may be important, something to do with something that the company's actually working on that you could never fucking find. It just, it dragged me down so much that I realized I was drowning in a sea of patheticness. That's what I was doing. And it wasn't, at first I resented everyone that worked there. I thought, you useless fucks, what's wrong with you? And then I realized, you know what? It's not the individual people. Because each person individually, if you go talk to them or go have a beer with them or a coffee or whatever, they're 99% great people. It's just that the collective organism of getting together and having to endure working there caused everyone to come up with a defense mechanism, which was, I have to be fucking annoying and pathetic and just try and get by. And I know I'm going to annoy all of you, but all of us are annoying all of us, and we all fucking hate it. So why not just sit here in our offices and send 200 or 300 fucking emails every day to annoy everyone? And then we can all be annoyed 24/7. Does that sound kind of like where you are right now, sitting there watching this video? Share it with everyone in the staff there. Get it going viral in your office. And this is why I respect the working man now, because since I've been fired, I have a lot of free time. I go for walks on the street. I do my own thing. I see some construction workers out there pouring concrete on the sidewalk, and I usually stop and say hi, and they're all nice people. And it reminds me of the anecdote that I heard once from a smart guy that said, the harder you have to work, the less money you'll make. And you know what? Next time you see a guy that's working hard outside cleaning the street or building something or pouring concrete or working on the asphalt or framing or doing the plumbing or whatever the fuck they're doing, those guys are working hard and they're making almost nothing. And the less hard you have to work, the more you make. And that's why people like to work in offices for these big companies. And eventually, the weight of the world crushes their spirit, and they sit around, most of them, not all of them, but most of them, sitting around doing fuck all because they don't want to lose their jobs because they make good money sitting around being fucking bored. The company was so pathetic that I worked at that we were probably working at 5%. They could have done everything that they were doing with 5% of the staff, right? Because no one did really anything. And I got so bored myself that I developed some really good strategies on how to look and appear busy and still be able to fuck the dog. One of the best ones was make a trip to the coffee machine frequently, 5 or 6 times more often than you should, and make eye contact with everyone who's there, especially if they're superior to you. And when you make that eye contact with them, kind of just shake your head like a discouraging no and just go, boy, yeah, here we go. As if you're frustrated with the day. They'll think, whoa, boy, he's really doing a good job. The other thing I used to do is I would get a folder, just a regular manila folder, just a folder, and put some papers in there. Just, I don't know, whatever I was doodling or some pictures of my holiday plans that I was making in the future. And I would hold this folder really firmly in my right hand and kind of open it up and pretend I was reading something and walk by my manager's office really quickly, stop in front of his office, look in the folder, shuffle a few of the pages and say, oh shit, close the folder, put it under my, and walk back the way I came really quickly. Just do that once or twice a day. And I'm sure he probably would see this and go, oh yeah, he's getting her done. He's, 24/7, that guy. They really meant that. They had this phrase, this going 24/7. Whatever the fuck that means. It's a kind of an American thing. Yeah, you're going 24/7? What the fuck is wrong with you? I'll tell you what I'm going. I'm going 7.5, 5. Yeah? How's that? Put that in your pipe and smoke it. And I tell you, the whole company was going 7.5, 5 or less. And just running itself into the ground. The complete, utter, know-it-all, useless attitude of the people in charge precipitated even a snowballing of this effect. And eventually the company just kind of floundered its way into oblivion and sold off all its properties and, one step away from being going bankrupt. Perfected the art of buying high, selling low. That's what I learned there. And eventually they started getting rid of all the staff, and hallelujah, I was free. And I knew it was coming for a while because the company was doing so bad that what I did is I cleaned out my whole office of everything I owned. So the only things I had there were myself on any given day. And the day that the layoffs happened, they would call you and say you have to come up to the HR floor and talk to someone. You go up there and people's phones are ringing. As they're firing people, and they got me up there, and some consultant was there with the manager, and I was told, unfortunately, due to market circumstances, we're going to have to let you go, and we'll let so and so from this consulting company work with you now. And the manager would leave, and then the consulting guy talked to me for a bit. He says, well, you're going to have to leave the premises right away, but we'll have some boxes delivered to your office so you can come back after hours and collect all your personals. How many boxes would you need? And I told him, well, I don't need any boxes. And he says, well, what do you mean you don't need any boxes? So you're going to have to collect your stuff. How many boxes would you need to collect all your stuff? And I told him, well, I don't need any boxes. I don't have anything to collect. And he looked at me perplexed and says, is this some sort of a joke? I mean, you've been working here for years. You have to leave right away. You don't have any boxes? Is this some sort of a joke? And I looked him in the eye, and I kid you not, guys, I looked him in the eye and I says, yes, this is one big fucking joke. So I am free. From that day forward, I was free, and I vowed to never put myself in a position to endure shit, no matter what the remuneration is. So now I'm poor, and I do whatever the fuck I want. And you guys get to live vicariously through me. You guys that are sitting there in your offices right now, hopelessly, pathetically waiting for the day to end. Just watch this video, and at least you get to watch something fun. This is what you should be doing, going out for a bike ride like I did today. And I tell you, I feel for all of you, because I think I've learned a little thing about people, that each of you individually is probably a great person, and you're just trying to get by and pay your bills and just have do something productive and get paid for it, and just carry on with your life. And sometimes you get thrown and in a situation where you're surrounded by a sea of ineptitude and just a fucking sea of despair, dominated by a couple of fuckwits at the top that make your life miserable. I understand it. Hang in there. Do the best you can. Try and at least have fun when you leave that place. And there is hope. You can. Life is long. You can somehow, through circumstances, find something else that will give you joy, whether it's your hobby or whether it's a change, a step out and do something different like I did. I basically do whatever the fuck I want, and I share it with all you guys, and I hope you derive some sort of joy. And here's, I'm going to throw this out there. If you guys are stuck in a cesspool office of despair, I'll come in there and do some consulting for you. I will sit down with the managers, the people running the place, and you'll get to know what the company does. It doesn't really matter what the company does, but just maybe wander around the halls and meet some people and have some chats and read some emails and spend a couple of days there. And then I can tell them in a no bullshit way how fucked they are. And I can maybe find an example of someone who wanted to know where the bathroom is, and it led to 743 emails with 647 people from 7 companies being CC'd and blind CC'd until everyone wanted to pull their fucking hair out. I can save them the money and the effort of having to go hire one of those agencies, that comes in and does those team building, rah rah, raise the morale type bullshit day where you draw funny pictures and put on a hat and tell stories about each other and have a laugh and have some free donuts, and then when it's over you go back to your fucking office and put your head in your hands and start weeping. I can just come there and spend a couple of days and just through observation and talking to a few people, I can list the top 3 things that you fucking suck at and the top 3 reasons why your company is fucking hopeless. And then you can do something to correct it. And if you think this is a good idea, just forward this video to all the managers at your company. Do it from like a Yahoo or a Google account that you set up on the side, and just send it to them. And if your managers, any of you are watching, just in the comment section, just leave your name and number and the useless, pathetic company you work at, and with a contact info, and I'll give you guys a call and set up a consultation so I can help you out. And hopefully you can develop some strategies to improve the morale at the shithole that you work. But in the meantime, remember, you can live vicariously through me. And I went for a bike ride today, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I wish you the best of luck trying to endure the rest of your day. As always, Klaus Kellerman, I'm cheering for you, the good working people out there just trying to get by. I love all of you.